Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Hello, my name is Dave Wilber, and my friends call me the Turfgrass Zealot, and this is Saturday, June 5th, and we're live. We're doing it live. Music this morning from the Polish Ambassador, one of my favorite music producers, Northern California organization guy, and I love it. So anyway, good morning, just kind of getting our levels set and our engines warmed up. And if you're joining me live, thank you so much. If you're watching this recorded, well, I love you nearly just as much. And yeah, man, this is great. It's a great opportunity just to hang out a little bit, kind of dump what's in my brain out into the world. Scary thing. Talk about the world of the Turfgrass Zealot, talk about the world in general, talk about golf, turf, all that stuff. So that's what we're doing. And I'm into it. All right, we have everything where I kind of feel like we want it. And so where should we start? Well, let's start. We'll bring the music down a little bit. Let's start about, I don't know. I think I wanted to kind of express how happy I am to be doing this. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really counted the episodes, but this is pretty cool. So if you're watching for the first time, please, do the like and subscribe thing. It just helps with the YouTube analytics, and when we get to 1,000 subscribers, some things change for me that way, which can help monetize this whole thing if YouTube allows it. So that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of cool, right? Cool. That's cool. Let's see what else. Well, I think what's going on in my life. Had the COVID shot, had a huge reaction to it. Lasted about 24 hours. Then exactly 7 days later, I had a repeat of it. Very strange. So, second shot in a week. Happy about that. That's a good thing. A lot of turfgrass talk on my phone this week. A lot of people doing great work, great things. I'll tell you, one of the high points of my week was I got to do my second interview podcast interview, I guess we should call it, with Joel Simmons and Kevin Hicks of Earthworks. The first one we did a week ago. So they just released the first episode this week. So if you go to earthworksturf.com, I think it is, you can catch the podcast there. You can also look up Earthworks Turf on YouTube if you want to see our smiling faces as we recorded. So they do it both ways. And that's pretty cool. Joel and Kevin doing good work. And we talked about water quality and we went deep diving. And, it's one of my areas of, one of the things I'm pretty good at. And it's really refreshing to get to talk about it, to be the one being interviewed, instead of carrying the ball. And, to do it with some people who get it, who understand that world a little bit and are asking me great questions and kind of getting this brain to dump out. So we ended up doing 2 episodes of that. And we probably could have done another 3, I think, but God, that was good. So anyway, please go check that out on Earthworks Turf. or you can, again, you can search Earthworks and find it. Follow them on Twitter. There's 1,000 different ways to get to it. So that's it. Weather-wise, around the country, heard a lot of different people talking about a lot of different extremes. Some pretty hot weather, some pretty dry weather. Here at my place here at Turfgrass Zealot headquarters in near Denver, Colorado, it's been really nice. We had a week or so of icky weather, but it's good now. So in the golf world, should we talk about this? Let's talk about the Women's U.S. Open at the Olympic Club. Now, first of all, this is my rant, right? Here we go. Wilber can't be live without a rant. And by the way, feel free to join in on the chat. It's up and running in case you'd like to. Well, anyway, the rant is, I don't think right now in the world of golf, and let me just preface this by saying I'm not huge on tournament golf anyway, right? I mean, this, event golf kind of thing is I don't know, it's fraught with all kinds of stuff. And listen, I've spent a lot of time around the circuses, right? So I understand it. I understand that world. It's not like I haven't been there. I have been part of prepping, a bunch of events in a bunch of different ways. And, whatever, right? But I can tell you this. I can tell you that's not the real world, and I want to work in the real world. So that's kind of that. However, I happen to believe in the concept of open championship golf. I believe in it very much. I believe in the idea that you can go to a local qualifier, whoever you are, and move up the ladder. I think that's really cool. I love that, and not just because like it's a tin cup thing or whatever, but it's like, hey man, it's an open championship. That's exactly what it is. You're good enough, you make it to the next level. You're good enough, you win. There it is. Simple. I like that. But I'm gonna say this. I'm bored to death with the PGA Tour right now, with the show, with the big show. I think there's a lot of good golf being played on the minor tours with the men. The LPGA is amazing. The best golf, I think, the best tournament golf is being played right now is being played by the women. And I think this week's US Amateur just proves that. And, just the highlights that I've been watching and all that sort of stuff. And we're not going to watch highlights here. I have the technology, I could do that, but we're not going to do that. But I can tell you that I love the golf that I'm seeing. And, there was one ace yesterday and just, a lot of great stuff. Now, the Olympic Club. Let's talk about the Olympic Club. Here we go. We're going to use technology to our advantage today. And by the way, if you're just joining me, good morning. I see people joining. I'm kind of watching the view count. So, hey, look, here's let's do some map stuff, right? Like let's be technical. So here, see the dot right there? That's the Olympic Club. And we'll zoom on in and bring that over. Right, San Francisco, California. You guys know where California is. Those of you from around the world, and here is the San Francisco Bay Area. There's the Bay, and right here in this place called Daly City is where it all goes down. Right? Where did how come my little marker went away? That's okay. I know what I'm doing. Anyway, this is a pretty cool neighborhood. Pretty cool neighborhood for golf, and I'll tell you why. Let's go to the satellite view now. All right, let's bring it down, and we'll just keep coming in here. I want to show you this neighborhood. Again, let's zoom out. Here's San Francisco proper right here. The Golden Gate Bridge is here. The Bay Bridge is here, right? So you got that. For those of you, this is kind of cool, huh? I'm glad we're doing this. All right, so now let's zoom into this neighborhood, because this is quite a neighborhood, man. All right, here's the Olympic Club. We got the lake course over here, the ocean course over here, the 9 holes or whatever that they built over there. Is it 9 anymore? I don't know, after the earthquake. But anyway, there's a bunch of golf here, right? You know, 2 18-hole courses. And it's a busy place. You know, if we zoom in on, you know, look at the parking lot, look at the tennis courts. There's a lot going on at the Olympic Club. And by the way, Troy Flanagan is the director of agronomy at Olympic and a good friend, an old friend. I love Troy. I love what he's doing. I think, you know, he's just he's got a good gig and he's doing it right. And I'm a Troy fan. Okay. And I know that this week Troy's got some volunteers there, and a lot of them are women in the golf industry. And this is another reason that I'm completely fascinated by the women's amateur this week. And I think if you're not following some of them on Twitter, there's a lot of good stuff going on there. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of, and you know what? There's a lot of ace greenkeeping going on there too. So I love that. Okay, so here's the Olympic Club, right? This is what I want to talk about the neighborhood. So here's the San Francisco Golf Club. You know, literally almost a driver and a wedge across there. Great old A.W. Tillinghast design, right? San Francisco Club. And, you know, there's the parking lot at the San Francisco Club, right? Let's just compare and contrast. There's the parking lot at the San Francisco Club, maintenance facilities there. And here's the Olympic Club. I don't know how old this picture is, but look at this. Look at the parking lot. Look at the facilities here, right? And then maintenance facility here at Olympic. And this used to be really different, and Troy has fixed all that up. Water tank, you know. So, and then right down the road is the Lake Merced Club. Beautiful Lake Merced Club, which is an amazing golf course. And it's kind of one of those things that like in this neighborhood, there's a lot of good golf. I love Lake Merced. And you've heard me talk about Lou Tonelli a couple of times. Good morning, Mr. Patterson. Thank you for joining in on the chat. You've heard me talk about Lou Tonelli, the longtime golf course superintendent at Lake Merced, who started there before I was born, and was a very good friend of mine. And he still is a good friend of mine, retired not long ago, and it's a fantastic place, right? So that's Lake Merced. That's the San Francisco Golf Club. This is the Olympic Club. Pretty good neighborhood for golf, huh? Not bad. Not bad. Now, it even gets better. Here is Harding Park. And some of you may have seen Harding Park. We're going to talk, see this right here? Is this the Fleming 9 course? We're going to talk about that last name, Fleming. We're going to talk about it a few times. So just hang on to that. But anyway, here's the TPC Harding Park. Lots of good stuff have been played there. And this is Lake Merced, right? This is Lake Merced. So once upon a time, these golf courses got their water from Lake Merced. Now they're unreclaimed water that's produced not far from here in Daly City, and it's working out pretty good. I was pretty involved in that project years ago. So that is the neighborhood of South San Francisco, Daly City, and the great golf. What a good spot, right? You have 4 incredible golf courses, a lot of incredible greenkeepers. And I think that's good. There's the closest thing on the peninsula is the Presidio Golf Club right here, right? And that's the Presidio from the old Presidio Army base. And I'd be amiss if I didn't zoom in on a couple of other friends' places. So let's go. So here is the California Golf Club. Many of you have heard of the California Golf Club of San Francisco. So just again, to get perspective, here's Lake Merced and all that. And it's about, I don't know, depending on the traffic, a 10-minute ride down there, down the 280, and you're into that. And there's the California Golf Club, and redesigned by Kyle Phillips, expertly maintained by Thomas Bastis, and now Javier is there. And why can't Javier's, this is bad. Oh my gosh. Javier's an amazing guy and is doing a great job with the golf course. And I'm blowing it because his last name won't pop into my head. Too much information. I'll get to it. Javier Campos, excuse me. And Javier worked with Thomas, and he's just an amazing guy. Tons of energy, and Glenn Smeckley, who some of you may recognize, is the GM here at the Cal Club. Glenn, a great golf course superintendent in his own right, and then general manager at the Robert Trent Jones Club, the RTJ Club in Manassas, Virginia. So this is the neighborhood, right? Just down the way is Green Hills Country Club. Alistair McKenzie design. Fantastic place. Very cool. Walt Barrett is the golf course superintendent there. So you guys get it? This is a pretty cool neighborhood. And yeah, San Francisco is San Francisco. It comes with its own set of issues and problems and all that sort of stuff. If we go up this way, the Meadow Club, another great McKenzie design up this way. So, that's kind of it. Hard, not as easy to get to as you might think, transiting the city and hitting the Golden Gate Bridge. But, a lot of days I would hit almost all of those, in my travels, which I loved. Okay, so let's get back to the Olympic Club, shall we? Let's get back to the thing at hand. So U.S. Women's Open being played on the Lake Course, and that's over here. And let me tell you something. Ocean's right here, and when the fog rolls into this place, yeah, it gets cold. It gets cold. There's no winter like a summer in San Francisco, said some. I don't know. Did Mark Twain say that? I think that's what people say. But yes, it can be cold as hell over there. Now, what's special about the Olympic Club to me? There's story time, right? Story time. So let's just get right to one of the first things that when people mention the Olympic Club, this is one of the things they'll talk about. They will talk about this. The amazing burger dog. It's just something that has become a synonymous with the Olympic Club. And again, you can see that there's a rather large membership there. Food and beverage is a pretty big deal. I forget how many covers they do at lunch at the clubhouse, but it's a massive operation. Okay, not to mention that, but they also have a facility in downtown San Francisco, the City Club. So, that's there. Anyway, let's get back to the famous burger dog. Hot Dog Bill's was a guy who started a hot dog cart basically in around 1950, and he used to come out to Ocean Beach right near the Olympic Club with the hot dog there's like a little trailer, right? And the members from the Olympic Club would run across the, let's go back to the map, they would run across here in this area, right, to get Hot Dog Bill. It's a true story. And they would get the hot dogs, the burger dogs, right? Or his hot dogs. And he started doing a burger dog out there, and that was just kind of one of the things they came up with because they wanted to do a burger, but they only had hot dog buns, so they figured it out. And he's been known for using really, really good beef. Always great beef, locally produced in a place called Vacaville, California. Why is that funny to me? And Micah Woods, wow, from Thailand. Micah is here from Thailand, catching me live. Wow, I am honored, sir. Sawadee Kap. Kap kum kap. So anyway, the great burger dog became a thing. And the Olympic Club very wisely said, hey, you know what? If Bill's going to sell burger dogs across the street and the members are going to be running across the street and all that, well, why don't we just cut a deal with them? So in about 1954, 55, something like that, he started a little shack, and I think there's two of them now, at the Olympic Club, and they do the famous Olympic burger dog. And look, yeah, it's a hamburger and a hot dog bun. And I think somebody posted yesterday, I think that was great. And my expectations weren't very high. How great could it be? But it's good. I mean, again, he gets his beef from Vacaville, California. Vaca, cow in Spanish, Cowville. Hey man, it's got to be good, right? And he's always had a single producer, and I think they continue to use that producer, or at least a couple of them now. I've had them. I love them. It, is there a better burger out in the world? Yeah, probably. But there's just something about it, It's like, hey man, I'm having one of the famous OC burger dogs. So you gotta love that. You gotta love that. And so that's kind of part of it. All right, so let's talk about the Olympic Club a little bit more. Let's go back to when I first moved to Northern California. And here we'll zoom out and I'll tell you where I lived. I lived, up here somewhere, Grass Valley, California. True story. I moved to Grass Valley, California. The Lake Wildwood Club was there, north of Sacramento, about halfway to Tahoe, right? So when I got to Northern California, of course, I was starting to really get to be interested in golf course architecture and all that stuff. And man, again, what a great neighborhood here. And then if you go on down to the Monterey Peninsula, more great golf. And on the way there, Pasatiempo here, great golf all along this stretch, right? At the time, Ed Miller was the director of agronomy for the Pebble Beach company. So I was early on, I went to visit Ed at Pebble Beach and got to see that and got to experience all that Pebble has to offer, which is pretty amazing. 17-mile drive here. And this is great, right? It's a great neighborhood. Micah can attest to that. Cypress Point Club, Monterey Peninsula Country Club, Pebble Beach, all this is here, right? Spyglass Hill, Poppy Hills. And in fact, the gentleman that was the golf course superintendent for a long time at Poppy Hills, Manny Souza, was the superintendent at the course that I took over. So that's kind of how that worked. So I also, obviously knew Manny and could, went down to meet, I had met Manny a couple times and I got to go down and meet Manuel at Poppy Hills and see Ed at all this and, do the Pebble Beach thing. And yeah, pretty great. So that was Northern California to me. And so I was able to see the Olympic Club with one of the assistants. And I was able to meet Lou Tonelli. Don Nauman introduced me to Lou Tonelli and see the Lake Merced Club and also Bob Kleinstecker at the San Francisco Club, right? So I did not get to meet, and this is where the story gets good. I did not get to meet John Fleming. Now let's talk about John Fleming. John was a longtime golf course superintendent at the Olympic Club. Started there in 1972. And if I ever get to write the book about interesting and great greenkeepers in our world, John is certainly one of those things. John's passed away. His son Pete Fleming is still in the business. So I want to talk about John a little bit. So let's go back to that name Fleming, right? Because we got the Fleming course over here. And if we go down the way, there is Sharp Park Golf Course. I forgot to talk about Sharp Park, which has been one of those places that has been under a little bit of fire because, hey, why do we need golf here on the coast, right? And there's been some people, Bo Links and Richard Harris, who have done amazing work trying to maintain and keep this from becoming condos, right? So that's important. That's important to know. Sharp Park was designed by a man named Jack Fleming. Jack Fleming, John Fleming's father. Jack Fleming came to Northern California by way of Ireland. He and I believe it was his cousin, Paddy Cole, were instrumental in the construction process for all of the Alistair McKenzie stuff that was built in Northern California. So we're talking Cypress Point Club, Pasatiempo, okay, Green Hills, the Meadow Club, these places. Paddy Cole and Jack Fleming building that stuff for the old man, for Mr. McKenzie. Okay, this is the story. This is really good, right? John Fleming grew up in the business, and Jack went on to design some golf courses over in the there's a few Fleming designs littered through the Central Valley of California this way. And John used to go with his dad and his uncle, and they would they would, lay out state golf courses, go out, shape, do those things. He was doing that when he was young. And he told me all this when I met him, and it was just, for me, fascinating, right? Fascinating. And so where am I going with all this? I want to tell a story. About the first time I met John Fleming, because it's kind of a good one. I had really, really wanted to see the Olympic Club with John, and I had wanted to meet, and he was an icon, right? And I finally was able to get an appointment with John. I don't exactly know how I got that done. I think part of it was because we were just starting to talk about water and whatnot here. We were starting to talk about reclaimed water, and I was involved in that by way of the San Francisco Club and the Lake Merced Club, and I was working with both of those guys. And I had really not broken the barrier with John yet. So finally, I had an appointment with John, and then a bunch of people told me, they kind of gave me the rules, right? Don't be late, all this stuff, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's good. So I stayed at a hotel that I usually stayed at right over here in Daly City, not far from things. And I don't know, where is it? Down this way. And I was, it was good. I had worked kind of my way up, and so I had a morning appointment with John. I'll never forget this, man. And we're talking about 1995, maybe? Something like that. I'd been consulting for a few years. Yeah. So John, don't be late. I'd heard all the stories, the guy's going to be gruff. He's going to challenge you, all this, okay, cool. I was a golf course superintendent. I understand golf course superintendents. I can do this. So I'm staying at this hotel, whatever it was, Hampton Inn. And as I reached to zip up my suitcase, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the whole deal was, but I reached down onto the bed to zip up my suitcase, and something went snap in my back. I mean, like a full-on, I don't know, I guess pulled muscle, right? What I remember is I remember that the lights went out, and I kind of was like all dizzy, and I fell forward on the bed, and I was like just laying there. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I tried to get up, and I couldn't. Like I literally rolled onto the bed and was just laying there, and I'm like, I don't know what happened, but my body's not working. I finally got myself up onto my feet. I was all bent over. I could barely move my legs. I managed to get my suitcase. I managed to shuffle, and I could barely walk. And I managed to shuffle out, check out, get down to the parking garage, get to my vehicle. I was driving a Dodge pickup then. I couldn't even really get in the truck. I mean, it took me forever, right? So now I'm starting to freak out because I don't want to be late. But I also don't want to, what am I going to do, right? But I've got, potentially one of the biggest appointments of my life. And it's not going well. And so, as we zoom in on the Olympic Club. So as I pull in to the maintenance facility, and again, this is the beautiful maintenance facility they built now. Before, it was in this same area, but it was not the same. It was very old school. Let's put it that way. And so I turn in, come up the road, come into the driveway here, park my truck. I am literally almost 1 minute from my appointment time, and I'm freaking out, right? Because I wanted to be there early. I actually wanted to go catch a cup of coffee on my way there. This is how long it took me to get out of the thing. So I arrive at the maintenance facility, and John Fleming's office at the time was in kind of a construction trailer kind of thing that had been there forever. And I think somebody had told me that's where he would be, right? So I knew to go in there. There was a shop facility here and some other stuff, but maybe more like here was where John's trailer was. And there was also a crew area and some lockers and all that sort of stuff. And it was pretty ragged, man. It was pretty rickety. It was old school. And I walk into John. I walk in and hello, Mr. Fleming, and call me John. And he says, "You're late." Now listen, I can barely move. Okay, like just going up the steps to this construction trailer, I was just holding on for dear life. And I'm like, I can't let this guy know, And so I'm really trying to stand up straight, right? I've got the, I can do this, kind of thing, right? And, all right, I can do this. And I come in and there's John sitting in a big desk. There's kind of papers everywhere. There's a great big ashtray right there. And I sit down and John and I proceed to have a conversation about life, the world, and everything. And he's kind of chain smoking, and he's kind of this smaller guy, Irish looking, glasses, big deep voice, intimidating to me as a young consultant. I mean, this is John Fleming. I mean, by then I had heard the story. I had heard how long he'd been there. These other guys had told me some Fleming stories, and he's a tough guy, right? I mean, this is the same guy. You got to understand, this is the same guy that when they had the 1998 US Open, John refused to use any volunteers because he didn't want to be disrespectful to his crew. I mean, that was just kind of his old school thing, right? And he had great ways to talk about stuff. Like, he had a big old roller and he called it the Billy Baroo, the Billy Baroo. And, for the Caddyshack reference, but the way he said it, it was just like, it's the Billy Baroo. And he also talks about, John was one of the first people I had ever seen that did circular mowing on POA greens. And when I first saw it, I thought, I don't get it. And then I started to realize what a great thing it was. He was circle cutting POA greens at the Olympic Club, and it was a real cool thing. And they would do it with the triplex, and a couple of his guys were complete experts at it. And he called it the circle jerk. Oh, we're doing the circle jerk there. This guy was a smart guy. Okay, he was in the military. He had grown up, of course, around his dad in the golf course business. I believe his undergraduate degree was in philosophy, and he was Navy. I believe he was Navy. I think it was. I mean, it was a fascinating man, right? Fascinating man, fascinating thing. So we're sitting there talking, and I'm sitting in this chair, and as long as I don't move or breathe, I'm pretty fucking good, right? And I'm hanging on to the conversation. I'm doing that. And he's challenging me, man. He's quizzing me about some stuff. And, what about this? What about that? But evidently he'd done his homework a little bit and knew that, I was a pretty good guy. So later he told me that, I was already in, but he wanted to kind of lay down the law, kind of thing. And, and so he says, well, I'm going to go to lunch. Do you want to go with me? I'm like, sure. We've been talking for about 2 hours at this point. Haven't been on the golf course yet. And I can't get out of this chair. And he finally looks at me and says, what the hell is wrong with you? And I said, well, I don't really know. I kind of pulled my back this morning. And he goes, well, doing your push-ups? And he's laughing at me. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's one of those freak things. My back went out. He says, well, come on, let's go to lunch. So I hoist myself out of the chair, and now this is where it gets embarrassing. So we're walking out of, and again, let's zoom in on imagine the construction like trailer here. And we're walking out, headed for the stairs. And my foot goes through like the floorboard. Like I step on a piece of wood that's, got dry rot or whatever. And my foot literally goes through the floorboard. And it's kind of stuck. And I'm like, I'm wearing my FootJoys and I'm pulling it out. And he turns around and looks at me and says, Jesus Christ, you went through the fucking floor? And I'm like, oh my God. He never let me forget that, man. You know, every time I walked into his office from then on, it was like, hey, be careful where you walk, Wilber. You know, stay on those beams, boy. The trailer can't handle you. But evidently it happened quite a few times. Not to me, but to other people. But yeah, so we jump in, and he had a Jeep Cherokee, an older Jeep Cherokee, and we jump in the Jeep Cherokee. I hoist myself into there somehow. We drive up to the clubhouse, and he has this kind of spot where he parks, like many superintendents do. But we're in the Jeep Cherokee, you know, which is pretty cool. And we go in and you know, busy dining room, right, at the Olympic Club. Busy place. And I don't know, had they just finished redoing the clubhouse the first time I went there? I don't remember. I think so. But at any rate, it's a beautiful big clubhouse, beautiful spot. We're kind of in here, and we sit down at the table that John always sat at. And by the way, anytime I ever had lunch with him at the Olympic Club, we sat at the same table with his back up against the wall. Very old school, very cool. Members drifted by, would say hi to him, whatever, you know. He had something to say about each one of them as they walked away. Oh, that's a good guy. Oh, that's an asshole. Whatever. I loved it. The whole thing was so great. We sit down at the table, and John says to me, he says, he looks at the menu and he goes, you're going to want to have the Olympic Club spare ribs today, you know, or short ribs. I'm sorry, spare ribs, short ribs. And I looked, you know, and one of my things was always, you know, everywhere I went in the world, I did the clubhouse sandwich just to see, you know, who had the best club sandwich. I really wanted to do the Olympic Club sandwich. I did it later. And of course I'd heard about the hot dogs, the burger dogs. But, you know, the way John Fleming said that to me, there was no way that I could do anything other than eat the Olympic Club short ribs. And by the way, they were fantastic. Braised short ribs like you've never had before. So he was right on the money about that. I guess not always served there, so it was a good thing. We had a fantastic lunch conversation. We get out. We jump in the Jeep Cherokee, and John just starts driving out on the golf course. And we take a Jeep Cherokee-oriented tour around the facility. Going here, going there. Talking about him working with Tom Weiskopf a little bit on these holes over here. You know, just all that stuff, right? Or driving around like he's done a million times right after lunch, you know? Talking to this guy, talking to that guy. Every once in a while, roll down the window. And then we drive back to the maintenance facility. He says, all right, you got to go. And that was it. That was my first meeting with John Fleming. We ended up, I don't know, would I call it friends? I think John respected me because I could think. And I think he respected me because I respected him. I also love talking to him about his father and his father's design work. And John would, you know, he was one of those guys that would understate everything. And he knew way more about golf course architecture than he would let on. So we had a lot to talk about there. And I don't know. He's, you know, I remember one day I was leaving his office. I was headed for the San Francisco club, and he said, yeah, be careful over there. They're very Tony, you know, that's they're very, you know, it's a fancy place over there. He said. And just stuff like that. We ended up working on the Reclaim Water project that went in place for Daly City for all of this. I worked with a water lawyer named Bob Maddow. His daughter is famous, Rachel Maddow. Yeah, I worked with Bob Maddow. He was a water lawyer. He was the lead counsel for the East Bay Municipal District for a long time, and then joined a firm of his own. And he's just the greatest guy. And so I was actually on Bob's team. There were a few of us. And we were the professional resources for the clubs and for Bob, and it really was a long time deal, and it was fantastic. So that's what I know about the Olympic Club. Ladies and gentlemen, when you watch the Olympic Club on TV, and you should be, by the way, I want you to remember some things. First of all, I want you to think about Troy Flanagan and all of his staff. Because this is not an easy area. It's cold. There's lots going on. It's hard to live here. Most of his guys are coming from far away. clear across the valley. They can't possibly live in the San Francisco area. A lot of them are commuting from way over here. It takes them a long time to get in. So things like that, right? It's a tough spot. It's just one of those things. And, you know, I'm not one of these people that hates on California. I actually really loved living there. For my time, it comes with its own set of issues and all that, but there are fantastic people. And I get really upset when I hear California and things like that, because, you know, it's a cool place. But the Olympic Club is its own unique set of challenges. First of all, this is all kind of sandy ground in here. These were all, once upon a time, these were sand dunes. So there's good soils, there's lots of good things going on, but water is a big issue. You can see that there's no storage ponds on any of these facilities, right? Yeah, it used to be that they got their water, you know, from the lake, but they all had kind of these big storage tanks. Now they get reclaimed water, but there's still some tankage on each of those places. You can see here at the San Francisco Club, this is water storage here. So anyway, it's a tough spot to grow grass. And it's one of those things where when you're looking at the Olympic Club this week, just remember the weather can be anything. You know, it can be hot and dry. It can be the coldest fog you've ever felt. I mean, it can change in a heartbeat. So think about that. Think about all the great women volunteers. And again, you should be watching that stuff on Twitter, because there's so many good things happening there with women in turfgrass. And I love this. I love it. And from what I hear from just different sources, they are absolutely kicking ass there. The PhDs, the qualified greenkeepers, everybody enjoying themselves, a lot of good spirits. And there should be. And what a cool thing, right? It's like, you know, women in turfgrass is really happening in a good way. And we got the U.S. Women's Open at the Olympic Club, and there's a bunch of women there greenkeeping. Man, that just gives me the chills. Gives me the chills, man. This is a great golf course. Please watch the coverage for the next few days. Like I say, I'm not going to get into the golf and the stats and all that sort of stuff. I did hear Brandel Chambly blowing it yesterday, and I wish that guy would never talk about turfgrass. These are not POA greens; they're bentgrass greens now. And it was definitely POA country for a very, very long time. And John Fleming was really good at, you know, with the POA. I don't know. There's a couple more stories I want to tell, but I don't think I should. I was with John a little bit during the 98 Open, and there was some stuff that went on there, but Tim Morgan expertly handled some of it. There was, you know, Tom Lehman had a meltdown in the scorer's tent, and I happened to be nearby, but yeah, and there's a couple more stories I just can't tell. Sorry, guys, but I just have to hang on to that. I remain a very big John Fleming fan, and I miss him. I miss calling him on the phone, and I miss that gruff old voice. I miss the level of disrespect he showed me in a respectful way. I don't know how to explain that. You know that friend who you know, gives you shit the whole time you're talking to him. Yeah, that's Sean. But he did nothing but give me professional courtesy and all kinds of things. He was very fascinated by, you know, my travels. He always wanted to know where I've been and all that stuff, and it was great. He and his wife Nan invited me to dinner one night at their home in Burlingame, just down the way, and it was a fantastic evening. Fresh tomatoes out of his garden. Yeah, I'll never forget that. So it's one of those things, right? So that's my Olympic Club story. I thought you guys would want to hear that. I thought you'd want to hear my cheerleading for the U.S. Open, for the Women's U.S. Open. I thought maybe it would encourage you to go take a look at that world and maybe, you know, watch that coverage in a different way, I guess is the way I would want to say it. And, you know, put yourself in more of a perspective of looking at it all, you know, from a different way. But it is a fantastic golf course and a fantastic neighborhood and a really great part of the world that has dramatic history in the golf world. I mean, I don't know, Sean Tully, I think, was posting some pictures on Twitter, Hogan in the 1950s, knee deep in the rough. I mean, really good stuff, right? I mean, I love that. So, at any rate, that is my Olympic Club story. What else have I got for you today? I think that's it. I think that's enough, huh? And I'll just leave you with the thought of burger dogs and great golf course, Irish greenkeepers, and yeah, Jack Fleming, John's dad. I guess I should again. He designed a bunch of golf courses. He had quite a career, I think, with the city of San Francisco, and being part of that whole world. He was just a well-known, unique individual, and I actually wish I knew more about Jack. And one day, if I ever do decide to go back and write that book about the great and influential greenskeepers of our world, I'm going to have to figure out how to include Jack and all that. Even though, I don't know, was he? Yeah, I guess he was over Harding Park and that stuff for the city. Yeah, I want to dig in a little deeper on that, but quite the family tradition there. I mean, you think about guys that came from Ireland to build golf courses with Mackenzie, whose son became, arguably one of the most famous greenkeepers, on the planet, who was at one of the greatest golf courses, as far as club wise goes from 1972 to, when did he retire? 2000, something like that. Oh, crazy. Such a thing. Such a great thing. And John went on to, he continued to be a golf course superintendent near Reno, Nevada. It was part of a project there. And it was in his blood, it's how he did it. And I admire that. I admire it very much. All right. Well, I think we're coming to the end of our time. Please don't forget to check out the Earthworks podcast. And, like I say, my water quality stuff there, I think is pretty good. Is there anything from the chat? Anybody want to chime in with anything? It's been pretty quiet. Micah Woods and Mark Patterson, thank you guys for saying something. And Micah, you impressed the hell out of me. I'm trying to think. It's late night. Late Saturday night where you are, if I'm not mistaken, or is it early Sunday morning? Either way, that's pretty cool. And I'm always touched by my great friend Micah Woods. Always good people. Anybody else got anything? I'm just watching my chat just to see if anything rings through here. And if it doesn't, and you guys want to be quiet, what's funny? I'll tell you a funny story about all this. Is that after people watch these, I get emails and Twitter DMs and stuff, and they this question, that question, or whatever, and I answer. I'm like, well, why didn't you put that in the chat? Well, I'm not gonna, talk sometime about organic greenkeeping. Sure, I'll do that. We'll focus in on that. Saturday evening, your place. Yeah, we'll do that, Micah. I'll dedicate that. At least organic has a lot of different meanings, doesn't it? But I'll give you my philosophy about all that. Yeah, it's a varied and changing thing, but it comes from the experience of doing it well and also having it kind of kick my ass a little bit. So there's that. But there's a lot more people focused on the biodynamic things and that's good, and that's what I always wanted to do. I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like a bit of a failure because I thought I'd be more influential in that. But a lot of sand kicked in my face over the years explained to me that that's not always how that was going to go. Again, music from the Polish Ambassador. Check them out. You can find them on Spotify, the Polish Ambassador. And great electronic music production. It's been wonderful to have that kind of rolling in the background. I've used it a lot. My podcasts over the years, I actually license this music so I won't get copyright struck. I have to pay some licensing fees so I can use it, which makes me really happy because that's that licensing is going to the artists and it's going towards artwork. All right, well, I'm seeing nothing more in the chat. Gosh, I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Thank you so much to just share in what I'm doing. And No, the Wilber spray is not organic, but it's also not a pesticide. No, it would not pass certified organic in the thing. So, great comment. What I mean by that, yeah, I don't know. The Wilber spray is not organic. Of course not. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's a big difference between organic and the whole how the world looks at that now, and what is biodynamic. I can tell you this: some of the worst strawberries I've ever eaten in my life come out off of a quote unquote certified organic farm. Some of the best strawberries I've eaten in my life come out from a quote unquote organic biodynamic operation that is not certified. So, there's lots to talk about there. That's a big thing. Thank you, Micah, for challenging my brain. Yeah, I'm not big on that word either. So Mike is, for those of you who are listening or whatever, but he says there's great opportunity to minimize pesticide use, but the organic word is one that I like clarity. Yeah, well, me too. I need clarity on that as well. And I actually rarely use that word. I use it when I'm trying to explain to people where I'm headed from the pesticide standpoint, but organic has come to mean a lot of different things. I was part of the California Committee for Sustainable Agriculture for a while, and it was such an argument there. Those were difficult conversations because everybody had their own idea what it should mean. So we'll get to that one day. Thank you, Dr. Woods. I'm sure I won't do it as well as you could do it, but I'll give it my Wilber spin. All right. Well, if you guys are watching live, thank you very much. We're gonna call it here. We're right up against the hour. And I want to keep these things short as far as Wilber time goes, but an hour is an hour. If you're watching this recorded, I love you just as much. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. It makes a huge difference in the YouTube algorithm. And again, we're pushing for that subscriber count right now, and I hate to be focused on that, but it means a big deal to me. But as we continue to work the YouTube algorithm the right way, that's what we got to do. It's part of the content creation thing. Also, I stream on Twitch nearly every day, somewhere around 3 p.m. Mountain Time in the U.S. You can catch me there. It's twitch.tv/The Wilberforce. And I do a variety of things: gaming, talking, chatting. Sometimes we do watching some YouTube videos. It's pretty relaxed and pretty fun. In fact, I will be streaming on Twitch later today as I'm trying to work into a new video game that is all about space exploration and all that stuff. And it's not just a game, man. It's a little more than that. So if you want to catch me doing that, please come on over to Twitch. It's a lot of you don't know about Twitch, but it's been a really cool thing. The young people all know about it. I'm the oldest. I got to be one of the oldest streamers over there, which is fine. I love that. Okay, I don't see anything else in the chat, so I want to thank you guys for being here. My name is Dave Wilber, and my friends call me the Turfgrass Zealot. And thank you for being my friend and for showing up here. I will see you guys next week live. I will see you on my Twitch stream. Don't forget the Earthworks podcast, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.